Hi guys, it's Dave in real life and welcome to this Nightmare on Elm Street ranked best to worst video. I've been wanting to make this video for quite some time. You often talk about Nightmare on Elm Street in the live streams and that I want to do a movie watch along or like a movie marathon on the series. This is kind of like, yeah, let's rank the videos so that you get to know which ones are going to be the good ones to watch and which ones are going to be the bad ones. We are going to look at the first movie, and that is at number 9, Freddys Dead. There's nothing exciting about this film. You know what's happening. The title tells you that Freddy's going to die. It's the last film of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And it doesn't even have Nightmare on Elm Street 6 as its tag or as its title. It's just Freddys Dead, the final nightmare. And yeah, it's just not a good movie. It's what would happen if Hanna-Barbera, the Looney Tunes, like Bugs Bunny and stuff, got their hands on a horror movie. It's just a car crash. It's not really Rachel Tallahay's fault. It is a first director debut. I mean, she's worked on every other Nightmare on Elm Street movie. For some reason, this one just felt flat and just didn't hit the mark. And you want to leave a franchise with the major talking points, a really good story. This didn't have it. In fact, they shoehorned in the fact that Freddy had a daughter, which made absolutely no sense as the rest of the films literally didn't mention it. I mean, yes, there was a little girl in the earlier ones, but yeah, she was never referenced as his daughter or even hinted at as being his daughter. So yeah, it's just a weird film. I mean, even the cameo from Johnny Depp makes no sense, as he was Glenn in Nightmare on Elm Street 1. So he's like making a cameo as Johnny Depp. It's just weird. It's just a very weird film. And then to cap it all off, they go into 3D in the last 10 minutes. And you just get actors going, wow, look at this sword. Whoa, it's in 3D. They're literally rubbing it in that it's in 3D. Man, there's nothing good about this movie. That is why it's number 9. The potential that this movie actually had to be great is ridiculous, and it's certainly something that I would do in a reboot video. So if you're interested to see what I changed to this particular movie, I will do a separate video on that, on what I would change to make that movie great. But sadly, it's the worst one of the bunch. At number 8 is another bad one. For a while, we were going to have me just criticising Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Makes you wonder why I'm a fan. But this one at number 8 is Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, 2010. It's basically a rehash of Nightmare on Elm Street, the original film from 1984, but with bad CGI. And it's nothing to do with the actor playing Freddy, Jackie Earle Haley. I always get this guy's name wrong. It's not his fault. Yeah, everybody wanted Robert Englund to play that role, but yeah, it's not that what I had a problem with. But the guy what replaced Freddy did a fantastic job, to be honest. Bringing back that he was a child molester got a lot of fans upset and kind of made it more icky to even like Freddy, even though we all knew that was kind of the backstory anyway. Yeah, all in all, the CGI in this movie just sucks. It is just a markdown from the 1984 classic. A lot of the things like the bathtub scene is a rehash of the original. The Freddy coming out of the wall in the bedroom is a rehash of the original, but done totally bad. The CGI in that is trash. Yeah, it's just not a great movie. And sadly, people just lost interest in the franchise. They are talking about yet another reboot. Yeah, Michael Bay seems to have problems with my childhood. He's already ruined the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's ruined Transformers. Yeah, don't get me wrong, the first Transformer movie was okay and worth watching, but the rest were trash. Ah, man, just leave my childhood alone, Michael Bay. We go on to number 7, and that is Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5. The Dream Child. Part 5's got some decent kills in it. I've got to admit that. I do like the Dan kill, the road rage where he gets turned into his bike, kind of. Yeah, I kind of like that kill. But it's just the rest of the movie. The message that movie sends is just terrible. Freddy tries to influence a baby inside Alice, who is the main character. She gets pregnant by Dan. Freddy is in her body, like feeding souls to the baby. Yeah, it's just that premise alone. It just it just sounds ridiculous, and it is. There's an even point where Dan, obviously spoilers, dies. He's the first one to die. His parents want Alice to give up a child to them, saying that she's an unfit mother. It's just such a weird thing to have in a horror film, is this like abortion or like baby sideline thing in it. It's just weird. You don't know what to take serious in this movie, and the fact that Freddy spends majority of the movie with disjointed body parts is quite unsettling, because he's supposed to be the dream master from like Nightmare on Elm Street 4, where he can influence people's genes, but he can't manifest a proper body shape in this movie whatsoever, and it's just unsettling. It's just doesn't make for good viewing. Don't like the child actor in this movie either, so yeah, it's just not a great film. It's gothic. It doesn't know what it wants to be. It's a convoluted mess. The end scene with the sperm souls leaving Freddy's body and the young kid turning into a Freddy character, just it's cringe, absolute cringe. When we do the watch along, obviously you will get full how cringy this movie is, and we are doing the watch alongs to these in October, so get ready for that. Yeah, so number 7 is definitely Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5. We go on to number 6, and it's Freddy versus Jason. I wanted to love this film. I went to the cinema to see it. It was great to see Robert Englund. And, you know, when you heard of Freddy versus Jason, you just thought Robert Englund and Kane Hodder was going to be the actors. For some reason, Kane Hodder wasn't even asked to do Jason. Brought in this other guy. And I don't know, the face-off between Kane Hodder and Robert Englund as Freddy versus Jason would have been epic. It would have been a really good horror film moment, but sadly we didn't get that. In fact, the film itself, they portray Freddy as the bad guy throughout this movie, and he only kills one person. He legit only kills one person. Yes, he tricks Jason to go to Elm Street, but it's Jason what is murdering people in a cornfield, but yet the kids are 24-year-olds side with Jason against Freddy. It's such a bizarre kind of thing. It seems like I'm saying bizarre quite a lot in this video, but it just is. It's just weird. The acting in this was absolutely awful. I wanted them all to be slaughtered, either by Jason or Freddy. Even Kelly Rowland, who obviously was from Destiny's Child, can't act for shit. And this movie proves that. I don't think there's a decent actor in this movie whatsoever, to be honest, other than Robert Englund. then for some reason Robert Englund's got a lisp. For Freddy with a lisp. He's never had a lisp, but watch this movie. He's got a lisp. It's so... I just don't even know. We get this convoluted backstory for both of them, which we know as horror fans. If you've watched that Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, you know the history. But yet we get it condensed in this movie, which takes up like nearly an hour before we actually get to the battle between Freddy versus Jason. Then it's just like, you could have had this match at SmackDown. It was basically, if they'd had ring ropes, they'd have been running off it and power slamming each other. It's just, honestly, it's a mess. It is a popcorn movie. It's something that you watch when you're pissed or, dare I say it, on weed, high as a kite. But it's just not, it's not great. It's not a great movie at all. I don't think it lived up to its hype. Go to number 5. Actually get into the better stuff now. I think we've got rid of the trash. And when we talk about Wes Cravens' new Nightmare, this basically came about after Freddys Dead was a trash. Because basically Wes Craven just saw it and thought, God, he can't leave this franchise with that god-awful mess. So he dreamt of a plot that Freddy existed outside the movie franchise, and that because the franchise had ended, that his demonic soul had been released into the world, and he was using the young boy, which happened to be Heather Landenkamp's son, in kayfabe, in the movies, not a real son, even though Heather Landenkamp, fun fact, was playing herself, a very over-the-top version of herself, I guess. Robert Englund also plays himself and the new Freddy in this movie, so it's very weird. But it's so ahead of its time. It's a movie within a movie. Wes creates a script for Nancy, and it's only Heather playing Nancy one more time to save the world from Freddy, the demonic Freddy. There's elements of cringe in this movie. There's a lot of stuff what is bad, but it's not. Yeah, it's a good film to watch, and it's certainly better than the ones that I've already previously mentioned. Yeah, so if you've not seen Wes Craven's new Nightmare, definitely go and check it out. It's got nothing to do per se with the series, so you don't need to watch the others to get this movie. It's literally on its own. But yeah, it's kind of worth watching. So yeah, that's at number 5. Number 4 is the MTV of Nightmare on Elm Street movies. It's Nightmare on Elm Street 4, the G-Master. Right, I've just try and be quick on this one. Reason why I like this movie, why it's so high up, probably lower on other people's list, I believe, is just the Rennie Harland, who directed Die Hard 2. This is his first debut as a film director, and he does a fantastic job. The only thing is that they ran out of money on the Rick kill. That's why it's the Japanese style kung fu thing. Looked a little bit like, well, where's Freddy? Can't see him. Yeah, they run out of money. That's why. that was supposed to be more elaborate and a lot more grander, but yeah, they just run out of money at the end and they couldn't get that scene filmed. Yeah, I just loved the fact that, you know, we had the cast from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 survive that move. They get picked off quite easily in this one, but they pass the torch on to the new cast, and we meet Alice for the first time and her friends Rick. I'm not going to go through all the names, but yeah, we see them getting now popped off. They use it because in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Kirsten has the power to bring people into her dreams. She passes that power over to Alice, but Alice is a daydreamer, so now Freddy can literally kill people during the daytime because of Alice's daydreams. It's very clever. But yeah, Alice has this like mirror which is covered up with photos. So with every death of her friend or a boyfriend, she starts removing all these photographs to reveal, well, not a boyfriend, a brother, started to reveal her own reflection. And with every death, she gets their, like, something like of a memento from them, or their power from them. So you really see a shy character develop throughout the movie. There's a lot of great cinematic moments in this film that really hemp it up. Crazy Mad George does a lot of the special effects. If you know who this guy is, he lives up to his name. He did the cockroach bit in this movie, and that is just surreal and absolutely crazy. It's a really good scene. You know, if you haven't seen Nightmare on Elm Street 4, you just need to see it for that, basically. Yeah, I just love this film. Even the bad editing of the version of Alice with the nunchucks, and it's clearly a big bloke with a wig on. Yeah, even to that. But yeah, this is why it's number 4 on the list. We go on to number 3 on the list, and yes, if you're a Nightmare on Elm Street fan, you probably noticed I haven't mentioned this movie yet, and probably thinking why. But it's Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddys Revenge. Why is this so high up on my list, you're asking? It's because it's a cult classic. It's literally grown in stature over time. The hidden gay storyline, if you will, is offered intrigue. The girl saving the boy from being a homo in the end. I know I shouldn't say homo, but being gay at the end is kind of stereotypical of the 1980s. I just like it. It's the last proper scary Freddy film as well. There's no cheesy one-liners like the others did after Nightmare on Elm Street 1. So yeah, this is just a good little scare movie. I don't really think there's many jump scares in it, I mean, but it's just Freddy at his scariest. One little issue they didn't explain is obviously Freddy is using Jessie, the main character's, who is a male, so he's the first male scream queen, his body to go and get his victims. They failed to mention how weak Freddy was from the first film, where he got defeated by Nancy, or she survived. They just failed to mention that he needed a body to do his bidding, or the fact that because he had the body that he could switch from real life to the dream world, because there's lots of serious moments in this where how is that happening? Why have the dogs got baby faces? Yeah, there's just a lot of things that are just unexplained, and it could have just been explained quite simply, either in dialogue. Freddy just saying, I need to bury your body, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I do love it. I do think it's one of the better Nightmare on Elm Street movies, just because of it's the last proper scary one. So yeah, we now move on to my 2 favourite Nightmare on Elm Street films, and it's basically a coin toss on which one I love most. But I have relented, and I've put Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 at number 2, just because it's the sequel. I think Part 3 had to retcon a lot of what Nightmare on Elm Street 2 did. Brought back Heather Langenkamp, brought in Lawrence Fishburne, which is fantastic in this. We've got the introduction of Patricia Arquette as Kirsten. Sadly, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 didn't have her reprise the role for some reason, but she's in this one and she's absolutely fantastic. No wonder she went on to have a fantastic career in movies, because this movie really did launch her career massively. Yeah, they added a really good story element to Freddy Krueger being the son of 1,000 maniacs. Yeah, just loved the setup. You cared for the characters in this movie. You've got interesting backstory to Freddy. You understood more why Freddy was this twisted, sick individual, why he did what he did. Yeah, it's just a great film. Yeah, does some of the CGI or computer graphics in this hold up to date? No. No, but there is kind of a nod at the end to the great Harryhausen, the guy what did like Clash of the Titans and the Sinbad movies. Yes, there's a kind of a nod to him in the end, which is really fantastic. Yeah, there's not I can say bad about this movie. It's just one that I've watched 1,000 times and could quite simply watch again at a drop of a hat. So that's why that's number 2. And number 1 obviously is the original, Wes Craven's original Nightmare on Elm Street. It's the first scary film I saw. What really scared me. I couldn't sleep proper. We are having dreams about Freddy Krueger after this one. Yeah, I was 20. No, I wasn't. But yeah, it's just a film that you can go back to and watch. It really brought forward like your stars like Everland and Camp, who obviously played Nancy. It was the opening film to Johnny Depp. Obviously, I mentioned him earlier on in this review, which is taking forever. But yeah, it's just one of the best. Wes Craven really hit the ground running with this. Fun fact, this was only going to be a standalone movie. He never intended this to be a franchise. But him and Robert Shade, the executive producer of Nightmare on Elm Street and a head executive at New Line Cinema, went to loggerheads, couldn't decide to finish. That's why the finish to this film is a mess. You have the doll going through the door, or Freddy trapping the kids who, you know, somehow survived the ordeal of the movie. In real life, they didn't, and they could have explained that a little bit better, that Nancy was left traumatized, and they didn't for some reason. They just left you thinking what happened to them as they went off into the distance. They did the same with Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 with the bus. It went off into the distance. Yeah, so Wes Craven wanted this to be a standalone film. Wes Craven did do the script for Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Well, parts of it. It did get rechanged. But yeah, he did get credited for that. And obviously Wes Craven's New Nightmare. But yeah, the other films. In fact, in Scream, there's a vague reference to that. Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street 1's good, but the rest is trash. Yes, that was a joke that Wes Craven put in to kind of ridicule the franchise. I don't think there's any real bad vibes from that. I mean, God rest Wes Craven, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago. It's certainly left a legacy behind. New Line built an entire film company on the back of Freddy Krueger, happily tagged the house that Freddy built. Yeah, without the Freddy movies being a success, we would have never have got Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings and many other films that New Line produced after the fact of Freddy. So yeah, did a lot to the movie industry, did Freddy Krueger, to be honest. So that is my ranked worst to best video. It is a long one, have a lot to say. October we are going to do all the watch-alongs for the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. So if you want more information, because there is more, I can talk a hell of a lot more about these movies, then yeah, get excited for that. Subscribe if you're excited for that as well. They're totally uncensored watch-alongs as well, so we're free to say what you want as long as you don't offend anybody particularly, or offend me. But yeah, that is it. That is the video. Please like the video. Put in the comment section below what were your favourite Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Do you agree with my list? Don't you agree with my list? Put your list. Have you never seen a Nightmare on Elm Street? And why haven't you seen a Nightmare on Elm Street movie? What's going on? But yeah, just put it in the comment section below. I've been Dave in real life. Thank you so much for watching. You've been awesome. And remember to keep it real. Until the next time. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, you better lock your door. 5, 6, grab a crucifix. 7, 8, you better stay up late. 9, 10, you never sleep again. Bye for now.